There are a few puzzles in the script of Cloudburst I still haven't been able to decode. But despite that, I love this story. It manages to work on multiple levels, as a remembrance of wartime espionage, as a revenge-based film noir, and as a tragic romance, all in a brisk 83 minutes. And the ending couldn't be more perfect or more British. It's a rare instance in a noir of the law finally getting its man, but without any feeble attempt to balance the moral scales or tidy things up with false hope. Colonel Graham has gotten his revenge, and it ends up meaning virtually nothing. Writer Leo Marx wouldn't write another screenplay until 1960, one that was the blueprint for the most controversial film ever made in England, Peeping Tom, about a photographer who moonlights as a serial killer and his obsession with photographing the faces of his victims at the moment of their death. The streak of cruel vengeance that runs through Cloudburst runs amok in Peeping Tom. The film's unflinching take on voyeurism and psychopathy so angered critics the film almost ended the career of its celebrated director, Michael Powell. It's ironic how that works. A similar movie, Psycho, released the same year in the United States, made its director a multimillionaire. Peeping Tom ruined Michael Powell's reputation and left him begging for work in television. A new generation of filmmakers, however, praised Peeping Tom for being just as innovative as Psycho and even more disturbing. Martin Scorsese led the campaign to rehabilitate Powell's reputation, which the director surely appreciated. But no more than Scorsese introducing him to his longtime editor, Thelma Schoonmaker, whom Michael Powell married in 1984. Scorsese's admiration extended to Leo Marx as well. He paid the writer cheeky tribute by having him provide the voice of the devil in his 1988 film, The Last Temptation of Christ. Well, if you're intrigued by the art of cryptography, I recommend Marx's memoir of his wartime experiences, Between Silk and Cyanide. He wrote it in the early 1980s, but its scathing critique of Britain's wartime practices led to the government preventing its publication until 1998, 3 years before Marx's death. One of the puzzlers in Marx's script for Cloudburst is how long it takes Inspector Davis to realize that Colonel Graham's wife was the victim of a hit and run. Given how everyone knows of Graham's wartime exploits, you'd think the death of his wife would have been news. Colin Tapley, who played the inspector, was actually a New Zealander who'd worked most of his career in Hollywood. After being one of the winners in Paramount's 1934 publicity stunt of a movie, Search for Beauty. He appeared in plenty of Hollywood pictures after that, including The Lives of a Bengal Lancer, Becky Sharp, and The Light That Failed. After enlisting in the Royal Air Force during the war, he stayed in England to resume his acting career. As for Elizabeth Sellers, she makes quite an impression in her brief appearance, with her unusual mouth, odd line readings, and a pronounced limp that's only explained later in one of the movie's most intense scenes. The photographs of her displayed throughout the movie actually got more screen time. Sellers was Scottish, born in Glasgow, and she had every intention of being a barrister until on a lark she auditioned for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. She was mostly indifferent about her acting career, although while briefly in Hollywood, she was cast as Humphrey Bogart's wife in The Barefoot Contessa. I hope to arrange her return to Noir Alley in the 1960 thriller Never Let Go, which features a rare villainous role for Peter Sellers. No relation. Next week, however, we will be back on American soil for a nifty little noir written by Blake Edwards and directed by Richard Quine. Mickey Rooney plays a sad sack seduced into being the wheelman for a heist and Drive a Crooked Road. In the meantime, head over to the Noir Alley Facebook page or Twitter feed and see if you can decode the secret message I just left there. See you next week.